In January 2014, Justin Bieber was arrested in Miami for drag racing, driving under the influence of marijuana, and for resisting arrest, but the charges went into thin air after he made a $50,000 donation to a charity and promised to attend a counseling session on the dangers of driving under the influence. It is no secret that celebrities have a way of evading justice for serious offenses committed in broad daylight. However, that is not always the case. Today's episode narrates the cases and predicaments of 10 superstars who were at the height of their careers in sports and entertainment, but made terrible decisions that resulted in major prison sentences. Number 10. Oscar Pistorius. Oscar Pistorius is a South African former professional sprinter and multiple Paralympic gold winner. Dubbed the Blade Runner or the fastest man with no legs, Pistorius took part in the 2004 Summer Paralympics in Athens and was overall third in the 100-meter event and went on to win the final in a world record time of 21.97 seconds, beating Marlon Shirley and Brian Fraser. He won gold in both 100 meters and 200 meters in the Paralympic World Cup in 2005 and was second in the 400 meters race at Rome's Golden Gala in July of 2007. Pistorius went further to win multiple trophies. By 2012, he had become one of the world's most renowned athletes and South Africa's most beloved celebrity, following another historic victory at the 2012 Summer Olympics in London. A few months later, Pistorius again made headlines, but this time for something entirely unexpected. In the early hours of Saint Valentine's Day on February 14, 2013, Pistorius fired 4 shots into a closed bathroom door, killing his girlfriend Reeva Steenkamp. Though Pistorius claimed to have mistaken Steenkamp for a burglar, neighbors testified that they heard loud arguing and terrifying female screams coming from his house the evening before. Also, Samantha Taylor, an ex-girlfriend, testified that Pistorius had been a volatile boyfriend with anger issues. The anger issue became evident throughout the trial. Police reports further revealed Pistorius had a history of multiple incidences of domestic violence and aggravated assault. On September 12, 2014, Oscar Pistorius was found guilty of culpable homicide and sentenced to 5 years in prison. The sentence was later extended to 13 years by the Supreme Court, following an appeal from the state to extend the sentence. Number 9. Tamor Trevon McIntyre. Tamor McIntyre, professionally known as Tay-K, is an American rapper and songwriter, best known for his 2017 hit single The Race, which charted at number 44 on US Billboard Top 100 and went platinum 6 months later. Born in June 2000, Tay-K started his musical career at age 14 with the rap group Daytona Boyz. The group released their first single, Drift, on SoundCloud on Christmas Day of 2014, but had very little success. A year later, Tay-K went solo and released several songs, including those titled Biff Zenon and Mega Man, which garnered a lot of attention in the local rap scene and placed Tay-K in the limelight for a promising rap career. During this time, Tay-K was also investing so much effort into his criminal career. He was first arrested in July of 2016, along with other Daytona Boyz group members, for home invasion and robbery, which ended the life of a drug dealer in Mansfield, Texas. The gang had conspired with 2 young women, Megan Holt, age 19, and Ariana Barat, age 20, to seduce and distract the drug dealer Ethan Walker, while Tay-K and other gang members broke into his house to steal drugs and cash. The outcome was a confrontation that resulted in the death of Walker. Tay-K, then 16, was placed under house arrest awaiting certification hearings, but on March 27, 2017, just a few days to the said hearings, he cut off his ankle monitor and fled to San Antonio, Texas. This same day, he wrote on Twitter, "F this house arrest shit, they gonna have to catch me in the hood." A few weeks later, he released the hit song The Race, describing his legal troubles and his running from the police. The song immediately shot to number 44 on the US Billboard Top 100 and eventually went platinum. While on the run, Tay-K shot and killed 23-year-old Mark Anthony Saldivar during a robbery on April 23, 2017, and also robbed 65-year-old Oni Pepe after attacking and knocking him unconscious. Tay-K was captured by US Marshals on June 30, 2017, and the hit song The Race was used as principal evidence against him during the trial. On July 23, 2019, Tay-K was sentenced to 55 years in prison for murder, 30 years in prison for 1 count of aggravated robbery, and 2 13-year sentences for 2 other counts of aggravated robbery. He would be released from jail at the age of 130. Number 8. Ricardo Medina Jr. Ricardo Medina Jr., an American former actor, best known for his role as the Red Lion Wild Force Ranger in the TV series Power Rangers, and later as Decker in the TV series Power Rangers Samurai. He also played lead roles in multiple television series, including CSI Miami, Parasomnia, and Bad Blood. At the time when Medina's career seemed to be on the rise, Medina made a disturbing 911 call, during which he was heard saying, "Damn it, Josh, why did you make me do it?" Medina had fatally stabbed his roommate Josh Stutter in the abdomen with a medieval Conan the Barbarian sword at a home in Green Valley, California, shortly after the two got into a fight over Medina's girlfriend. Though Medina claimed to have acted in self-defense, he is said to have stabbed him multiple times before making the 911 call. Stutter was pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital. On March 16, 2017, Medina pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Number 7. Suge Knight. Marion Hugh Knight Jr., professionally referred to as Suge Knight, is an American former music mogul, co-founder, and CEO of the famous Death Row Records. Knight was the central figure in the commercialization of gangster rap in the early 90s, mainly with the release of Dr. Dre's The Chronic in 1992 and Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style in 1993, which happens to be the label's first 2 albums. In 1995, Knight struck a deal with Tupac Shakur, paid his $1.4 million bail, freed him from prison, and signed him to Death Row Records. A year later, the label released Tupac's most tremendous commercial success, All Eyes on Me. In September 1996, someone shot into a car that Knight was driving and fatally wounded Tupac. In the aftermath of the event, multiple allegations came up against Knight for the use of intimidation and extreme violence in his business dealings. In one incident, Knight and his henchmen are alleged to have threatened the executives of Ruthless Records with lead pipes and baseball bats to make them release Dr. Dre, the DOC, and Michelle from their contracts so as to sign them to Death Row Records. Following the death of Tupac Shakur and the label's increasing thuggish reputation, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, MC Hammer, and other top artists all left the label. 6 months after Tupac's murder, Tupac's East Coast rival, Notorious B.I.G., was killed in a similar drive-by shooting. It was highly speculated that Knight got Tupac killed because he was planning to leave the label and then ordered B.I.G.'s murder in order to divert attention from himself in the Tupac case. Between the late 1990s and early 2000s, Knight spent several years behind bars for aggravated assaults and violations of probation and parole. Finally, on January 29, 2015, Knight crashed his car into 2 men, killing Terry Carter, a music executive, on the spot, while the other man, Clay Sloan, a filmmaker, suffered severe injuries. Though he initially claimed that he acted in self-defense, witnesses testified that Knight followed the men to a burger stand parking lot after a heated argument. Also, security footage showed Knight running over both men, thereby proving that the collision looked intentional. 15 different lawyers joined and left the case from the time of his arrest to when he was sentenced. In September 2018, Knight was sentenced to 28 years in prison for voluntary manslaughter. Number 6. Kodak Black. Bill Cahan Capri, better known by his stage name Kodak Black, is an American rapper who rose to fame with the release of his debut album, Painting Pictures, which reached number 3 on the US Billboard Top 200. Kodak released his first mixtape, Project Baby, in 2013. In 2015, Canadian rapper Drake posted a video of himself dancing to one of Kodak Black's songs, giving the young rapper a sudden exposure that eventually resulted in a record deal with Atlantic Records that same month. In 2017, Kodak, aged 19, released a single titled Tunnel Vision, which reached number 10 on US Billboard Hot 100 and number 17 on Canadian Hot 100. It goes without saying that Kodak had a promising musical career ahead of him. Unfortunately, his career prospects were overwhelmingly eclipsed by the weight of his multiple legal troubles. In 2015 alone, he was placed into a youth detention center 3 different times and was charged with robbery, battery, false imprisonment of a child, and the possession of cannabis. In April of 2016, he was arrested in Hollandale Beach, Florida, and charged with illegal possession of sophisticated firearms, possession of marijuana, and for fleeing from the police. A month later, he was again arrested in Broward County, Florida, for armed robbery. During a court hearing in August 2016, 7 executives from Atlantic Records were present, including the label's vice president, Michael Kushner, who commented that Kodak has a very bright future as a recording artist. The court placed Kodak under 1 year of house arrest, but soon after, another case of rape came up against him, allegedly committed in February of 2016. Between 2016 and 2019, he was arrested multiple times for armed robbery, assault, battery, possession of firearms, and violation of probation and parole. In November 2019, Kodak took a plea bargain and was sentenced to 46 months in prison for armed robbery and possession of firearms. Though President Donald Trump issued a presidential pardon to reduce his sentence, Kodak still faces rape charges. He is being held at the Thompson Correctional Center to await trial.
Romo in the gun. Well, this is where these reputations are made.
Has Witten got one more catch in him?
Snap to Romo, back, time, throws it out, caught at the 35, Hurd to the 20, Hurd to the 5, Sam Hurd.
Number 5. Sam Hurd. Sam Hurd is a former American football wide receiver in the National Football League for the Dallas Cowboys and Chicago Bears. Hurd attended Brackenridge High School in San Antonio, Texas, where he practiced football and received all-state honors. He then accepted a football scholarship from Northern Illinois University. As a junior, he appeared in 10 games, made 27 receptions for 298 yards and 3 touchdowns, thereby helping the university to victory at the 2004 Silicon Valley Football Classic. In the second year, he had the best receiving game in school history, with 266 yards against Central Michigan University. After his college career, Hurd signed with the Dallas Cowboys and was the team's 3rd receiver in 2007 and was named special teams captain in 2010. In July 2011, Hurd signed with the Chicago Bears but was cut from the team 4 months later following his arrest on December 16th for attempting to purchase and distribute large quantities of cocaine and marijuana. Though Hurd admitted to drug use and claimed to be going through a difficult time, the police traced Hurd's phone number in the caller ID in the phone of a major drug dealer that was arrested in California 4 months prior. Further investigations revealed that Hurd had negotiated to procure large quantities of cocaine and marijuana from the dealers for $25,000 per kilogram of cocaine and $450 per pound of marijuana. This was clearly inconsistent with his hypothesis that the drugs were intended for personal use. On November 13, 2013, Hurd was sentenced to 15 years in prison. He is being incarcerated at the Federal Correctional Center in Bastrop, Texas, and is scheduled to be released on May 17, 2025. Number 4. Shannon Richardson. Shannon Richardson is an American former actress and convicted felon. She has featured in several television series such as The Vampire Diaries, Franklin and Bash, and The Walking Dead. With minor roles in multiple blockbuster movies, Richardson seemed to have a promising career on the big screen. But everything changed on June 28, 2013, when she was convicted for sending threatening letters to Barack Obama, then President of the United States, to New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and to Mark Glaze, a top politician who headed the mayor's movement against illegal guns. To make matters worse, the letters were laced with ricin, a very poisonous substance made from castor seed capsules. Shannon claimed that her husband had made her mail the poisonous letters. Though the supplies for preparing the poison were bought using her husband's credit card, police investigations later found that the purchase was actually made by Richardson in an attempt to set up her husband. She even went further to plant evidence in her husband's car and lunchbox. On December 10, 2013, she pleaded guilty to the crime and was sentenced to 18 years in prison. She is currently being held in the Fort Worth Federal Prison, Texas. Her release is scheduled for November 2028.
Before we begin, I just want to congratulate Harvey and his wife.
I'd like to thank Harvey Weinstein.
Especially Harvey. And Harvey, thank you for killing whoever you had to kill to get me up here today. And to Harvey Weinstein.
Number 3. Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein is a celebrity film producer and co-founder of Miramax Films and the Weinstein Company. In October 2017, the New York Times published an article about dozens of women who had accused Weinstein of using his influential position to sexually abuse and rape women in the industry. According to the report, over 80 women have been Harvey's victims in the last 30 years. According to the accusers, Weinstein would invite young actresses into a hotel room to discuss career opportunities and demand for massage and sex. Though Weinstein denied ever involving in any non-consensual sex, there was an overwhelming number of accusations, evidence, and witnesses against him, presented by a group of alleged victims led by an Italian actress, Asia Argento. In May 2018, Weinstein was indicted for rape and other grave sex offenses. In February 2020, he was found guilty of rape in the third degree and sentenced to 23 years in prison. Even after Weinstein's sentencing, criminal investigations into new complaints from 6 other women from Los Angeles, New York, and London are ongoing. Number 2. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, dubbed America's Dad, is a retired stand-up comedian and actor who had an active career for over 6 decades. Born in July 1937, Cosby started out as a stand-up comic at the Hungry Eye nightclub in San Francisco in the 1960s, from where he landed a major role in the Secret Service adventure series, I Spy. Throughout the 1970s, Cosby starred in about half a dozen films. His major success came from his own sitcom, The Cosby Show, which aired from 1984 to 1992 and was rated the #1 show in the United States from 1985 to 1989. He later produced and starred on various other TV shows, including The Cosby Mysteries and A Different World, which all had mainstream success. Cosby is probably the most affluential stand-up comedian in American history. Cosby has been accused by approximately 60 women of rape, drug-facilitated sexual assault, sexual battery, child sexual abuse, and all other possible kinds of sexual misconduct. Though the dates of the incidents spanned from 1965 to 2008, the allegations became more public in October 2014, after a stand-up routine video by comedian Hannibal Buress alluding to Cosby's covert sexual misbehavior went viral. Though Cosby initially maintained that he is innocent, he later admitted to casual sex involving the use of the sedative hypnotic methaqualone with a number of young women. On September 25, 2018, he was found guilty of 3 counts of aggravated incident assault and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Number 1. R. Kelly. Robert Sylvester Kelly, better known by his stage name R. Kelly, is an American R&B singer, songwriter, and record producer. Dubbed the King of R&B, Kelly has been credited with redefining R&B and pop soul music. With over 75 million records and over 32 million albums sold worldwide, Kelly is undoubtedly the most successful R&B artist in history and the all-time 55th best-selling music artist in the United States. In addition, he has written and produced songs for the biggest names in the music industry, including Michael Jackson's You Are Not Alone, for which Kelly was nominated for a Grammy Award in 1996. Unfortunately, Kelly's enormous contribution to U.S. hip-hop culture has been diluted by multiple accusations of sexual abuse of underage girls since the 1990s. He was indicted on 13 counts of child pornography in 2002, but later acquitted of all charges. In July of 2019, following the release of a short documentary, Surviving R. Kelly, which detailed allegations of sexual abuse by multiple women, Kelly was arrested and indicted for 22 federal counts of sexual abuse, human trafficking, child pornography, kidnapping, forced labor, and racketeering. He is currently being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, awaiting trial scheduled for August 9, 2021. Thank you for watching. If you have a video idea, why not leave a comment below? And if we make it, we'll give you a big shout out. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell for more videos on crime stories, notorious outlaws, and historical scandals.